Welcome to PD on the Go, the podcast that delivers bite-sized learning on communication, collaboration, and facilitation for busy teacher leaders. Tune in while you're in the car, on your lunch break, or making copies, and get ready to level up your leadership skills. My name is Hallie Case, and I am an educational specialist in the Office of Professional Development for Fairfax County Public Schools, and I'm joined by Mary Beth Anderson.
Hello.
So we're excited to just be the two of us kind of chatting today and having a conversation about a really key leadership skill, which is to withhold your advice when someone comes to you with a problem and they just say to you, okay, what would you do about this? Or they don't even say that and they just start like talking about a challenge they're having and you want to just tell them exactly what you would do to solve that problem. So Mary Beth, tell us a little bit about, even though advice giving isn't inherently wrong, why is it not a tool that leaders should turn to first in those situations?
Yeah, when I think about that, leaders really, our job is to build the capacity of others around us so that they can do their job better. The best leaders help us to be our best. And so when I think about giving advice, while it may feel like you're being really helpful, right? Because teachers, and I mean, this is in our everyday life.
Yes.
People ask for advice all the time, right?
Yep.
It makes you feel like I can empower them. I can help them by saying, like, here's exactly what to do because that happened to me too. Or I've had a lot of experience with that. And what that does is, one, they keep returning to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Builds dependency.
It builds dependency, which that might make you feel really good because you're helping people. And as a leader in a school building, our goal is to help people be able to help themselves, right?
Yeah.
So build their capacity. So I think that's sort of like why it's the biggest skill. But like I'm thinking about like what can go wrong when giving advice too.
Yeah, I was thinking too, like, what if I give bad advice? Like, I think it's good because you've told me enough about it that I'm like, same thing happened to me. Wasn't the same thing, right? But I might think it's close enough. I give
Right.
you advice, and then what if it went bad for you? That like tanks my credibility,
Yeah.
and then I become the owner of this really bad advice, which is not really a place that we want to be in, right? As like feeling like we've let someone down. Nobody wants that.
Yeah, and you don't really have control of how someone implements your advice either, right?
Right.
So like I could have heard it one way and then went about it a different way and said, that didn't work. I'm not asking Hallie next time. Right? Or like I don't
Right.
own what happened.
Yeah.
It's more about the advice. Well, Hallie told me to,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of that can get in the way too.
So it's like a win-win to hold off because the win is that you're building the capacity of the other person and that you're not becoming responsible for the outcome of something. So then what do you do instead?
Yeah, so I ask questions. It makes me think a lot about a coaching conversation, right?
Yeah.
Because both you and I have backgrounds as instructional coaches, right? And I think when I moved from a role as a resource teacher where I felt like I was giving a lot of advice or telling people how to do things,
Yep.
and moving to that coaching role, the biggest thing that I leveraged is asking questions. So what are some things that you've tried already
Yeah.
to get them to start thinking through what if they already problem solved and then maybe what else is left, you know?
Yeah. I think the coaching connection, I'm seeing that too. One of our favorite coaching gurus is Michael Bungay Sr., and he has this book called The Coaching Habit. And he has what he calls these 7 essential questions. We can make sure we share the link directly to his site. Like he has these questions published around how to help people stay curious a little bit longer. And there's a question that he asks, and it's actually not one of the 7 questions. But I've heard him talk about it, and maybe it's in his book. But if someone comes to him with a problem or something that they're trying to figure out, he'll say, I can tell you've already thought a lot about this. I have some ideas, but before I share them, like, tell me what you've already considered, or, something to that effect. I love that question.
Yes.
Like, that is one of my top go-to questions. And people come to us as a team fairly frequently for ideas and resources and the, like, what would you do if? And I try to really remember to, like, use that question instead of jumping in right away and giving my answer.
Well, you know why I really like that question, that phrasing and question too, is that sometimes when someone comes to you with a problem and they are emotionally invested in it, and I say, so what are some things that you've tried already before? It can be a turn on to people, right?
Oh,
They're
yeah.
like, here we go, I'm being coached. I'm just asking this. So acknowledging, like, I can tell that you've really thought a lot about this and I have some ideas, but what are you thinking? It, like, really positions them as the decision maker.
Yeah.
And it also is telling them, like, if you are out of ideas, I've got some things to share with you.
Yeah.
So it's another way to just, like, hold off a little bit on giving the advice.
And it helps reduce that, like, what if I'm just going to give them ideas they've already thought of?
Right.
That's not helpful, right?
Right.
So it's more the curiosity of, like, well, tell me what you're already considering, because maybe I'll have different ideas and maybe I won't, and we can do some learning together to figure out what to do, you know?
Yeah.
Which makes me think a little bit about the difference between consulting and advice giving, because when you're asking questions, you might get to the point where the person really doesn't know. Like, they've just exhausted all their resources. Don't keep asking questions. It's okay to consult. And in that case, instead of just telling someone what to do, you're providing a little bit more theory. Like, here's the why. Here's how it aligns to research or best practice that we're making this recommendation. Maybe you give choices to somebody and invite them to think about which one of those choices might work best for them. And then you're aligning more, again, really with coaching, right? Like, in supporting someone's thinking instead of just telling them what to do.
Yeah, so it's sort of like this weaving between, like, consulting and coaching, right? And seeing
Yeah.
where the person is. You know, when you think about Michael Bungay Senior, one of the actual 7 questions is, like, what's the real challenge here for you? And because sometimes when we give advice, we think it's one thing, but it's really something else, and we're giving advice to the wrong situation, right? Or we don't really know all of the ins and outs of the situation they're in. And so we might be giving advice that's not even what they're asking for.
Yeah.
So pinpointing what the challenge is and then being able to go from there.
I love that question too.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to post a link to his resources. We'll link you directly to his site through our Instagram account, which is at FCPS_PD. And also for our Fairfax County listeners, if you access Mac and Via, which is our digital library, you can listen, or you can read The Coaching Habit, which is Michael Bungay Senior's book. It's already available within our library system. So we hope that you check out some of those resources and that our topic today gave you some ideas of things to think about the next time someone comes to you looking for advice. We hope that you'll join us next time for some more PD on the go.